Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS and Ascension. So, we've arrived in Amkethran and had a short conversation with Balthazar, who updated our map with the locations of the enclaves of the two powerful Bhaalspawn that Melisande told us about, Sendai and Abazigal. And we're going to visit these places in the future, but for now, in this episode, we're going to go for a walk around Amkethran to explore the place, ask around, see what we can find, and we'll be able to do a couple of minor quests and events here and also have some conversations, so let's get to it.
You know, I've been thinking a little about the last fight we were in.
What about it?
I felt something come over me. Viciousness I've never felt before. I just wanted to tear someone's throat out with my bare hands.
And when the fight was over, I was disappointed. Angry, even. For a moment, I found myself this close to snarling and jumping on your back. It was all a bit unsettling. And I really don't like any of these conversation responses. This one's like, relax, you'll be fine, take it easy, eh? But I guess this one is the most comforting one I guess we can give to him. Yeesh, I don't know. I'm starting to forget what I used to be like. That's almost worse. Oh, but don't mind me. I guess I'll just have to handle it until all this ends. It's not like I'm sprouting 4 extra arms and wailing like a banshee, right? Always looking on the bright side there. But of course, the Bhaalspawn development continues in Imoen. But anyway, as for Amkethran, first we have this cavern that serves as a graveyard to the local populace, but right now it's blocked off by some magical means, and we'll be able to learn a little bit more about it from the boy here and the guard.
Who are you?
Yeah, apparently the cave is now full of really bad creatures. Some undead that rose recently, and apparently there might be some connection between the awakening of the undead inside there and the arrival of a stranger in town, who said he was just passing through, but then his daughter got real sick, and he started saying that the dead were coming for him. And then Balthazar just sealed off the cavern, and we're going to be able to find the stranger in the village a little bit later. And he just runs off. And this guard here is going to basically tell us the same thing about some disturbing reports of the dead having risen. Powerful creatures apparently awoke inside. And if we try to bribe him, he's going to seem like he's not going to be susceptible to such a thing, but as we will be able to see later on, it is not impossible to affect him with some incentives, I guess.
Yes? Please spare me. I beg you.
So here's another event.
Thieving wench! Begging won't save you now!
We will make a harsh example of you, and maybe others will think twice before they steal from us.
Please, my daughter meant no harm. Her motives were pure, even if her actions were wrong.
Pure? How do you justify your daughter's theft of her hard-earned gold, Mayor Harad?
People are starving. Food is scarce. Hasana needed your money to buy bread from the black market to feed the poor.
The problems of your town are not our problems, Mayor. Your excuses cannot justify your daughter's crimes.
Stay clear, Mayor. You can do nothing here. Make peace with your god, Asana. Your life is forfeit.
Please, will no one help my daughter? Will no one stand against these brutes who have invaded our town?
Hush, Father. The townsfolk are scared. They will not intervene. I must accept the consequences of my actions.
No, this is not right. Asana has done nothing wrong. You there, stranger, you are surely not afraid of these mercenaries. Can you not help my daughter? And we can actually ask a little bit more into the whole issue here, because she does seem like she committed a crime, and she is getting rightfully punished for it. My daughter is a compassionate woman, but young and impulsive. She foolishly stole money from these mercenaries to ease the suffering of the starving children of our town. Does she now deserve to die for her compassion? Her actions were wrong, but surely you cannot condone her execution under these circumstances, my lady. And yeah, killing her right there in the streets does not seem like a fitting punishment. And Asana, should have known that if she wanted to play Robin Hood, she should also first develop some skills to survive the consequences. But of course we're going to help them. And this is a pretty funny response here. Your words have touched me. I will save your daughter's life.
Thank you. I fear those mercenaries will execute Asana right in the street if someone does not speak to them on her behalf. Please hurry!
What is it?
Do I know you?
So yeah, we will not permit them to murder this girl. This woman is a thief, and she will pay for her crimes. Perhaps if you play a lawful character, you would be more inclined to just let them perform this execution. But we will not allow them that. They will be the ones executed. Good. I was worried our fighting skills were getting a mite rusty. So they're kind of another example of kind of a cartoony villain, like irredeemably evil.
May I be of service?
May I be of service? Thank you, my lady. I cannot truly repay you for saving my life, though my father might have some small reward for you. Yeah, an upsetting event for sure. You got that one right.
What is it? Without doubt.
My daughter owes you her life. I wish I had more to give, but I insist you accept this small reward. I will tell all of Amkethran how you saved my beloved Asana.
Yeah, and that is going to give us our last reputation point. Finally, we are back at 20. But what's more important is that he gives us this Montolio's cloak, and I think we're going to talk about Montolio once we assemble the whole thing, because this is only one of the two components and that Cespenar needs to craft this cloak for us. We also need the clasp for it, which is in Watcher's Keep. And we're going to, of course, hold on to it. There's also this Smuggler's Cave that we're going to visit a little bit later, not just yet. And also I'm going to make a quick save here. I'm going to try to... come on, do some quick saves here and there in Amkethran, because the game tends to crash for me for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. It might have something to do with all of these different creatures essentially getting spawned and despawned after traveling to a certain location, and when something goes wrong, it seems like the game just crashes. Alright, here we can quick save.
Yes, without hesitation.
And now let's progress to the next event.
What is it? This one must speak.
So you thought your smugglers could sell our stolen gear and get away with it, eh, Salmon?
Or should we just call you Saman? We know all about your shady reputation, Saman Ovarian.
So look who's here, our old buddy.
Now, let's not do anything hasty, gentlemen. As you know, I could not have been involved, as I have only recently returned to Amkethran.
Save it, you weasel. We know you run the smugglers here in Amkethran, so you're the one to blame.
We've been waiting for you. Hand over our stuff, Saman, or we'll slit your lying, cheating throat.
I like this voice actor.
Oh, well, of course by my sea salt stinging eyes. Look who's coming this way. A familiar face from my past.
I see you're in a bit of a bind, Seaman.
Your arrival is a happy coincidence, given the situation. You can actually solve my dispute with these rather upset gentlemen.
You a friend of this double-crossing rat?
I wouldn't say friend exactly.
This doesn't concern you. This is between us and Saman. Just keep walking.
But I can solve this little dispute quite easily now. Sinashira, please return that equipment I sold you yesterday to these fine men. You? You bought our stuff? Of course not. Saman's lying. Don't be difficult, Sinashira. We can all plainly see you are carrying equipment that does not rightfully belong to you. Hey, yeah, those weapons look mighty familiar to me. Well, I find that pretty hard to believe, seeing as how we are wielding some legendary weapons the likes of Cromfair or Saravok's specially enchanted sword and whatnot, or the Flail of Ages, but whatever, let's go with it. Apparently they are familiar. And those boots look just like the ones I'm missing. You've got our stuff. Saman's playing you guys for fools. I guess Sinashira isn't going to cooperate. I'm afraid this can only end in violence.
So you're looking for a fight? Well, you've got one.
We'll teach you to steal our stuff.
We'll teach you. This guy is pretty funny. Sorry, Sinashira, but I'm afraid you're on your own here. So, we've just met Saman again for only a moment, and he already managed to get us in trouble again. And he's going to teleport out as usual. And we have another fight with these mercenaries on our hands. This is going to give us a little bit more magical equipment for them, and it makes me realize that I have not looted the previous ones. And yeah, these chainmails I think are +3 enchanted, so we can't identify them just through lore, but we have another pair of glasses of identification that we can swap out, because there's going to be more of such armors. Yeah, let's have Sinashir quickly loot the other guys as well. We also have plenty of identify scrolls, actually, that Animan still keeps for us.
Yes, it will be done. What is it?
Your monastery once cared for this town, but under Balthazar you have abandoned us. The people are starving and your master does nothing.
Balthazar is concerned with greater matters, old man.
Bah! He is gathering mercenaries and wizards for an army. How is this more important than bringing in food for the starving children?
You have no idea of the events that the monastery has set in motion. Go back to your prayers and leave me alone.
No! This is too important. In the name of Joaquin, I demand a meeting with Balthazar. He must be made to see the insanity of his callous actions.
You make no demands of me or the monastery. Balthazar cares nothing about this pathetic town. Go beg your dead god to feed these people.
Blasphemer! I will stand for your monastery's tyranny no longer.
You dare attack me, old man? Your death shall be quick and painful.
Yeah, so from these conversations, this one and the one we've had with Asana and Mayor Harad, we can get a good idea about the state the village is in right now. Like I mentioned in the previous episode, apparently Balthazar is not the most skillful ruler, and all of the resources of the town are going to the coffers of the mercenaries, I guess, primarily, and ordinary people are left here to starve. And anyway, these two guys are going to go into a fight, and we have to step in to save this poor priest of Joaquin. And now Balthazar's mage, I guess, teleports in to stop the violence. You dare raise your hand to an emissary of the monastery? And we had to step in. Balthazar cannot be bothered with such petty matters as these, so I will let you off with a warning. In the future, do not involve yourself in the business of Balthazar or his monks. Yeah, so he's going to be grateful for our intervention here. I was wrong to let my temper get the better of me, but I cannot just sit idly by while people starve. Apparently the church has already spent all of its coin to buy food, and we can give him this 1,000 gold donation to help feed the poor and starving. And what this does is gives us a slightly better reward here. Instead of 2,000 personalized experience, we get 3,000 and another reputation point. So looking at it that way, this is a very cheap reputation point that you can get that way by just donating 1,000 gold. And also, he gave us this ring, the Oaken Ring, which, in combination with the Nymph's Tear that we have obtained in the Forest of Mir, we're going to be able to craft a very nice ring for Jaheira. And here's the temple of Joaquin. And by looting these containers here, we're going to see that not exactly all of the money that the church had was spent on the poor, it seems. Anyway, here's Cheel, I guess, and we're going to be able to ask him about a lot of people here. We can ask about the two Bhaalspawn. Let's try to get some information about those. Sendai, an unholy name, stranger, for the mistress of drow assassins. Although she is no true drow, I suppose, she is a child of Bhaal as you are, I believe. Sendai is a creature to be feared. I am told that she raises her own army near here, and many whisper that Balthazar intends to cleanse the world of her base evil. It will be a terrible battle if it occurs. And what about Abazagal? Well, what he knows about that? Only that this is another of the Bhaalspawn that Balthazar intends to destroy with this army he has raised. This Bazagal is raising an army of his own, I believe, deep in the mountains. I have faith, child, and that is more than enough for most here in this town, you will see. This is a standard response here after the questions, I guess. But yeah, it seems like Sendai seems to be a drow and a Bazagal. We don't really know yet, but it seems like Balthazar apparently has hired these mercenaries to wage war against the other Bhaalspawn present in the area. Now about Melisande, I know the lady, but I have not seen her in some time. She used to be here quite frequently, and often stayed as a guest of Balthazar and his monks. In fact, there are those who blame Melisande for the misfortune that has befallen our town. Some feel she is the one who convinced Balthazar to turn his back on us to serve some other purpose. Interesting. But I lay the blame for what has happened with the monastery at Balthazar's feet. He is the one who makes the decisions here, not Melisande. And speaking about Balthazar and the monks, I have little good to say about them. Once the monks cared for the people of Amkethran, helping them to survive in the harsh desert. But since Balthazar took over, things have changed. Suddenly, the monastery is more concerned with gathering mercenaries than looking after the people who have come to depend on it for survival. Balthazar is preparing for war, but he is neglecting his true responsibilities. But I should not say more. For the sake of the townsfolk, I cannot risk angering Balthazar and his followers, lest Amkethran suffer even more. And yeah, we can see his services, and he is a pretty good merchant in the fact that he pays almost double for most goods. So he's not as good as Karthus, but still well above average. And he has some more containers. I guess we can get mostly potion cases. We will be able to stash some potions we're going to get later in those. There's never enough of those. Scroll cases, I think we have enough, but just in case, we can get ourselves one more of those. But yeah, we're not going to sell stuff to him because there is a one-time opportunity to get even better prices than anyone else in Throne of Bhaal in general. And I think now is going to be the time to go there. I think now we have gathered... Oh no, wait. There's one more thing we need to do to gather even more equipment to sell. Here's Captain Erelon and his archers. And he is just going to keep summoning some monsters for these archers to practice against. And basically they're kind of like a separate faction of the mercenaries that we can kill without angering anyone else. Because if we attack the other mercenaries, basically the whole town is going to be hostile towards us. And it's not that big of a deal, but these mercenaries just keep spawning and they are a nuisance if you anger them. And that is basically the reason I'm not going to use AoE spells, because some of these mercenaries, when they spawn, they kind of walk around and they can walk through a firestorm of Jaheira, for example. And basically why I'm talking about all this is because we can provoke them to fight us. And seeing all these archers, you might be thinking that it would be a perfect place to unleash some cool AoE spells, like perhaps a double glitter dust from a minor sequencer or something like that. But the problem with those guys is that all of them have 63 magic resistance, and their save versus spell is 2. So there's not much room for any finesse here, unfortunately. Firestorm would be able to bypass all of their magic resistance, and of course it has no save on it, and would be able to do a lot of nice damage, but like I said, I will not risk it to accidentally damage anyone else around here.
Yes, it will be done.
Can't you see I'm busy? My archers need to stay in top form.
I don't like your tone.
My tone wasn't meant to please you. So just button your lip and try and stay out of the way, or my archers might turn you into a pincushion.
Actually, let's first go back and just observe what normally happens. He basically summons either Minotaurs or Umber Hulks for these archers to practice their shooting skills on. So let's just give him a chance to do that. And then we're going to provoke him. And here's an Umber Hulk. And there he goes.
What do you want now?
Yeah, so he's sick about our annoying interruptions. And basically that's what would have happened in the first conversation if we just asked a little bit more about what they're doing, and he would say that he's just summoning monsters for these archers to practice on, and then we would be able to have a couple of different responses to which he would get annoyed and start attacking. So anyway, all of these archers are level 14 fighters with 4 attacks per round actually. They can dish out some damage with their +2 arrows, I think, and Captain Erelon is a level 16 fighter mage. So we're going to have to watch out a little bit for him. And I think before they start shooting, we're going to use protection from magical weapons on Senashira. And yeah, he's going to get his pre-buffs. Apparently he has improved haste and improved invisibility. But since he is only level 16, we might get some value out of just a single remove magic from Imoen. And we might already... I think even Kiranai is going to go into melee just to occupy the attention of some of these archers. We're going to send Senashira perhaps there as well, and we're going to have a couple of people ready to face Captain Erelon here. Alright, so he has improved mantle. Perhaps we will be able to dispel it right away. We'll see how our remove magic goes. Alright, it was effective. Let's just focus all of our attention on him. Alright, so that's it, and now let's just attack some of these archers. Not to give them any opportunities to shoot freely. And this fight is actually really important, because Captain Erelon has a very nice bow on him, and not really for the purposes of shooting it, or using it for shooting. Yeah, you have some space, Saravok, and he also got a level up. Actually, we should reorganize this like that. Yeah, this Darkfire bow. First off, this is one of the 3 ranged weapons that can be upgraded using the Bowstring of Gond that we're going to find later. And this one, also the Firetooth crossbow, can be upgraded with it, and that's going to be what we are going to use the Bowstring of Gond for. And there's also a bow called Taralash at the bottom of Water's Keep that we're going to get later. But anyway, this bow is great for us just the way it is, because from it we can cast another max duration improved haste. So that's very, very nice, having another source of that kind of effect. And Kiranai can equip bows, and, well, technically Saravok also could use it, but this is going to be something for Kiranai to equip, cast improved haste from, and then, you know, enjoy the benefits of having a lot of attacks. And yeah, these archers, they are going to have some of the standard magical loot here that we're going to be able to sell in bulk soon. Let's have this scroll case here and get ourselves some identify scrolls. Just to identify all of this quickly. And I guess we can even pick up these arrows +2 and just sell them like that. Alright, so now I think this is it.
What is it?
And now we can visit the smugglers in their cave and see what's up there. Now we've... this is going to kind of... the response I'm going to give to some monks in there is going to make a little bit more sense now that we have witnessed what's going on in the village. And we have also seen Same and Havarian about. Actually, before we go in, let's dispense a little bit of death wards here, because these monks are going to be able to use Quivering Palm, which is an ability that that allows them to have a chance at instantly killing someone with their melee attacks. And it does allow a saving throw versus spell to avoid instant death, but let's just be careful about all that. And now let's go in.
These mercenaries have filed a complaint that you are selling stolen goods, Karis. This operation is closed, and all merchandise is forfeit to the monastery.
This is ridiculous. The monastery's never objected to our actions in the past.
Tell us where Isaman is, Karis, and we will let you go.
Isaman isn't here. I haven't seen him in weeks.
Then I will arrest you instead. For your sake, I hope Isaman shows up before we find it necessary to interrogate you.
No, you can't do this. This is an outrage. When did the monastery become a puppet slave to the whims of a bunch of foreign mercenaries?
Silence, Karis! Wait, what is this? It seems we have a would-be customer in our midst. The infamous Child of Bhaal, if the descriptions of Balthazar are at all accurate.
The fact that these men know you by mere sight worries me, Sinashira. Tread with care. Our every move is being closely watched. I could arrest you for being an accessory, Bhaalspawn. However, I am in a generous mood. I suggest you leave now and don't interfere in our business here. And yeah, I was planning to use this conversation option here. Every time I see you, monks, you're intimidating and bullying people. This one is good as well. We all know this is going to end in violence. Let's just cut right to the good stuff.
Stand aside. I will not allow Balthazar's work to be interrupted by the likes of you.
I've had enough of your high-handed attitude. Time to teach you some respect.
To arms, my brothers! We are attacked!
And yeah, we dispensed some death wards, but not to all of our party members, because Sinashira is going to again use protection from magical weapons, and Kiranai is going to use her avoid death to be immune to instant death effects, and Imoen is just going to keep out of trouble. And basically these monks are only level 6, the 3 ones, and that means they are going to use Quivering Palm illegally if they do, because Quivering Palm is an ability that monks get at level 12. But also their low level means that they only have non-magical attacks, so Sinashira and Kiranai are going to be immune to them, but their leader is level 13, so he has a +2 attack, so even Sinashira and Kiranai with her armor would be vulnerable to his Quivering Palm, so just being extra safe, we're going to be protected. And yeah, they do use Quivering Palm. Alright, so let's just destroy them. No problem.
It will be certainly.
Thank you for your assistance in this unpleasant matter. I'm sure if Isaman were here himself, he would offer his thanks as well.
You mean Saman Havarian, don't you? Our leader goes by many names, but I assure you I do not know his current whereabouts. Whatever your trouble with Saman, I had nothing to do with it. Well, we can let him know that Saman owes us a debt of pain. Yes, well, be that as it may, I still think some type of reward is in order for helping us in this matter. With our erstwhile leader gone, the best I can do is offer you a discount on goods. The scope of my authority is somewhat limited in his absence, you understand. So every time we come back here, we'll get a discount. Of course, you must realize that we cannot stay here in Amkethran now that we have been involved in the death of several of Balthazar's envoys. I suggest you use your discount soon. If you return tomorrow, our little store will be long gone. We cannot stay and suffer the wrath of Balthazar's vengeance. So what about my own involvement in killing Balthazar's monks? There are no witnesses to the battle but ourselves, and we will make sure Balthazar knows nothing of your involvement. I cannot waste time with idle banter right now. Do you wish to buy something before we pack up our merchandise? And yeah, we are going to see his wares. He is the best merchant in like the entire saga because he pays almost triple for our own goods. To be more precise, he buys stuff at 266.6% increased, or you know, at 266.6% the price, I guess should be the correct term. So almost triple. And to give you an idea, normally a full plate male sells for 1,800, and for him, he is going to buy them for 4,800. So this is going to be a nice selling spree for us. But even though it was said that these smugglers buy stolen goods, he is actually not considered a fence, and he is not going to accept our sentinel shield, for example. And that's basically I think a giant oversight in Throne of Bhaal in general, because there are no fences in the expansion at all. I think there's one component of the rogue rebalancing mod, the one that adds some additional stuff, some additional equipment available for bards and thieves mostly, and it makes the smugglers actually accept stolen goods. But normally, in our mod setup, there are no fences at all in Throne of Bhaal. So now that we have we were reminded of some stolen goods in our possession in the previous episode, in between recordings I am going to drop the Sentinel and some ammo and perhaps some other stolen goods on the ground, and just at the beginning of an episode we're going to see what we kind of can't really get any money for. But anyway, here when it comes to Karis, well, before we buy these arrows and bolts, because I think I am going to buy a little bit more for Imwen, just to be on the safe side of having enough ammo. He has, you know, a decent selection, similar to a couple of vendors from Shadows of Amn, but also, as a bonus, he has some higher enchanted equipment and some unique stuff. Primarily Clogareth here, which is the best thrown axe in the game. That is +4 enchanted and can also deal even more damage on hit. And if you have a dedicated like axe thrower, of course this is the thing to go for. And even if just you have a committed throwing character in general, using daggers and axes probably, you know, this one provides a +4 enchantment, which is needed to damage some creatures in the game. So we're not really going to have much use for it, but I don't know, since we only have this one chance basically to trade with Karis, I think I might even get it, just because it's such a unique piece of equipment. But anyway, yeah, one more thing about Karis is that even though he said that tomorrow their store is going to be gone, it's actually, you know, this might give you the idea that for 24 hours he is still going to be there, but it's actually not how it works. Once we leave this place and return, they are going to be gone already. So as long as we stay in this area for now, we are going to be able to trade with him, but then we are going to lose this precious opportunity.
Would you like to see our wares?
I would, Karis, my good man. But anyway, as for his unique stuff, there's Clogareth. There's also another pair of glasses of identification. But anyway, on to the good stuff. Rod of Reversal. Finally, we're going to have a wand, basically, that will allow us to cast Ruby Ray of Reversal. Very, very useful stuff. And then there's this Enkidu's full plate +3 with a decent armor class, and a little bit more of magic resistance, but the most important thing is that it gives us an immunity to backstab, which is going to be useful in a couple of places. Such an effect is, of course, very useful in SCS when there are a lot of thieves and assassins, especially at this point in the game, that can offer some pretty potent backstabs. So we are going to buy that. Then there are gargoyle boots, a very nice pair of boots that also gives that kind of effect when they are worn, but they also have 2 uses of stone skin that anyone can apply, although this is just 2 skins per use, so it's not that amazing, but this is going to be a source of stone skin for characters like Saravok or Anomen that normally don't have access to such a thing. So we are of course going to get that. He also has a variety of gems used for crafting, but we have already obtained everything we need from all this. So we can just buy all of the equipment and do some selling. Also, what is pretty interesting when it comes to Karis is that you can essentially print money when trading with him, especially when it comes to gems, because gems don't have any price depreciation on them when we sell them, but just to give you an idea, this rogue stone here costs 2200 gold, but it sells for 4000 gold. So you can just keep buying and selling and basically printing money, which is something that we are not going to do, but an interesting thing. Just because he buys our stuff for such exorbitant prices, I guess that's what it leads to opportunities to essentially print money. And anyway, here we can quickly sell all that we have recently gathered from the mercenaries and get a lot of gold. And we're basically, we even have to do that. I think we are super comfortably set for the rest of Throne of Bhaal when it comes to our finances, but since we do have an opportunity to get some cash, basically double what we have here, boom, almost 500,000 gold now in our possession. And also we have some gems that we can sell. I'm going to do this first pass by just clicking once to get rid of all of the gems that we have only one copy of quickly, and then we can start doing this. Oh, misclick there. Wasting precious seconds. Alright, we're above 500,000. And just a quick check. Oh yeah, I wanted to buy some ammo from him. First, let's just stash some of these useful things.
Would you like to see our wares?
And just the arrows and the bolts we can get. Oh yeah, and also one more thing. We are going to buy a non-magical weapon for Animan. Now that, because he normally, as his non-magical weapon, he used a mace. But since a while now, he has more proficiency points in flails and morning stars. And he is going to be able to have better Thaco and better damage when using those weapons. And we are going to not get a non-magical flail, because it deals from 2 to 7 damage, but we're going to get ourselves a non-magical morning star now, because it can deal from 2 to 8. And that is going to be his non-magical weapon of choice from now on. We can just stash these arrows and give Animan his weapon. We can just drop the mace, and yeah, that's it. Also, when it comes to these guys, they have some chests that we might want to take a look at. Alright, and just loot some minor goodies. I think there are, yeah, the potions here, which are of interest, and some minor random stuff. Alright, and now we are basically done with the place.
What is it?
Alright, and I think we are also going to be done with the episode for now. We are going to engage in a more involved quest in Amkethran in the next episode, but for now I thank you for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time.